In this video, I'll tell you about tags, mockups, and what kind of mockups we use in our packs. Tags are labels you can see near the item's names in the lace bar. Here we have a close-up screenshot. So we have the name and 3 tags that go with it. Now let's look at the types of tags we use. Here we have the list of all tags. Let's start with the plus tag. The plus tag shows that the item has some additional options. Let's have an example. I have an opened file with the devices here. Here we have iPhone with a plus tag. So to see its additional options, I found the Smart Object layer. Now I double click on it. Here we see the Expand and Choose folder. So I open this folder and here are our additional options. In this case we have iPhones in different colors: silver, rose, gold and space gray. So suppose we need space gray. I select it and make sure other variants are disabled. Now I close the window and click yes when I see the message. So the item is saved and it is updated in the main scene. That's what the plus tag is about actually. So if you see this tag, it means the item has some additional options. This was about plus tag. Now let's look at the M tag. This tag means the item has a mockup. There's 2 types of mockups. They're labeled by the E tag and the F tag. Now let's look at the E type of mockup. So what is it actually? I open Typeforms and they're made with the E mockup. Let's look at this item. I open the Smart Object and here we see lots of effects and change this layer. That is our mockup. I double click on it and that is what we've got here. We have a transparent area and a shape and some text in our case. These mockups work right this way. They need a transparent area and a shape. Here we can have text, logos, images, vector or raster graphics. The key points here are shape and transparency. For instance, if instead this separate text, we have some text on a white background, and if I save it, we'll see that our mockup doesn't work directly. That is just a simple rectangle, and I don't need it obviously. So please remember, the E mockups always need shape. Now let's try to add our work here. For instance, I'll add some default Photoshop shapes. So I create some kind of composition, add your logo or some text and click Save. That's what we've got. Our mockups update takes some seconds as we have lots of effects here. And here is finally the result. We've customized our item, so I close the window and click Yes, Save. And the item is updated. The next type of mockups is F mockup. It means that this mockup can have complete filling. We don't need shape or transparency. We can add any composition or any background. This mockup works with color and not with shape. Let's take this hoodie as an example. I double click on the Smart Object to open it. Here we have Change this Smart Object. So we open it too. That's what we've got. Here we have a guide helping us with our item's borders and telling us where it can be placed. I also prepared this colored image here. I'll add it to our mockup. So let's see how it works. I'll move it a bit lower and I'll zoom the upper part. To cover the shape completely, I hide the guide as it can overlay the edges. Now I close it and save it. Here we see an error message. We'll get back to it in a minute. So, we've updated the mockup. And I'll tell you later about the error. Summing it up. We have ME mockups based on the shape and MF mockups based on complete filling that don't need shape. Now we had a problem and got an error message when updating our item. Let's get back to it. This will be our next tag, D tag. It means that this mockup has a displacement map attached to it. How it works? If you look at this image, you'll notice that it's a bit unrealistic. That's because the hoodie has wrinkles and our smart object doesn't repeat them. So it looks unnatural. To make it look better, we've added the displacement map. The smart object has a displace effect, and the layer's name contains the name of the necessary file. So we enable this file to this displacement effect. The files are included into the pack, and you can find them in the Displacement Maps folder. I double-click on Displace. Now I have the window with Displace settings opened. Click OK and select the necessary file. In our case, we need 04PSD, as it's specified in the layer's name. Here it is. That's all, the item has been updated. It looks much more better. Now there's distortion from wrinkles. That's exactly what we need. That's how mockup, work and D tag works. Summing it up. Plus means the item has some additional options. M, the item has a mockup. E, the mockup is based on shape. F, the full colored mockup. D, the mockup has a displacement map.